Some children failed tests, some failed classes, and some quietly failed themselves, convinced they are broken, simply because no one ever taught them how to learn. This is not just a story about a boy who struggled in school. It's a story about what happens when one teacher chooses to see potential where the world only sees problems, and how that single decision can change generations. In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, where the maple trees lined the streets like silent sentinels and the air carried the faint, earthy scent of freshly mowed lawns mixed with the crisp bite of autumn leaves, he lived a boy named Alex Rivera. At 14 years old, Alex was a lanky adolescent with a mop of messy brown hair that perpetually defied any attempt at taming it with a comb, and deep brown eyes that held a swirling mix of innate curiosity and a quiet, underlying despair that he kept hidden from the world. His family had uprooted from the vibrant, chaotic energy of the city 2 years prior, forced by his father's sudden job loss at the factory where he'd worked for over a decade. The move to Willow Creek was meant to be a fresh start, a place with affordable housing and good schools, but for Alex, it felt like being transplanted into alien soil. The transition had been anything but smooth. A new school filled with unfamiliar faces, cliques that had formed long before his arrival, and an overwhelming sense of not belonging that clung to him like a second skin. Alex's daily life had settled into a monotonous, soul-draining routine. He would wake to the hurried footsteps of his mother, Sophia, in the kitchen, the clatter of pots and pans signaling the start of another day. He'd scarf down a hasty bowl of cereal, often while staring blankly at the wall, before slinging his backpack over one shoulder and trudging the half-mile to Willow Creek Middle School. School, for Alex, was less a place of learning and more a daily battlefield where he fought losing skirmishes against subjects that seemed designed to confound him. Mathematics equations would swim before his eyes like ancient, cryptic hieroglyphs, refusing to reveal their secrets no matter how long he stared. History dates and events slipped through the sieve of his memory like grains of sand, impossible to grasp. English essays loomed like insurmountable mountains, their peaks shrouded in fog, demanding coherence and structure that eluded him. His grades lingered stubbornly in the realm of C's and D's, occasionally dipping into F's, and the quarterly report cards that arrived in the mail were inevitably met with disappointed sighs and furrowed brows from his parents. "It's not that you're a dumb Alex," his father, Miguel, would say, rubbing his temples in frustration as he sat at the kitchen table under the harsh glow of the fluorescent light. "You just need to apply yourself more, try harder. Life doesn't hand out second chances." But trying harder felt like an impossible directive when the deck seemed stacked against him from the start. Alex had been diagnosed with dyslexia in 3rd grade during a routine school screening in the city. The diagnosis explained why letters danced on the page and words twisted into knots, but the underfunded urban schools hadn't provided much in the way of support. A few extra minutes on tests here, a referral to a specialist there, but nothing consistent. In Willow Creek, the situation wasn't markedly bad. The teachers were generally kind and well-meaning, but they were overburdened with classes of 30 or more students, each with their own needs, and individualized attention was a luxury they couldn't afford to give. So Alex retreated inward, building walls around his vulnerabilities. In class, he doodled intricate patterns in the margins of his notebook, swirling galaxies and fantastical creatures instead of raising his hand or participating in discussions. At lunch, he sat alone at the end of a table, picking at his sandwich while observing the laughter and camaraderie of his peers from afar. After school, he escaped into video games, where worlds were predictable and achievements came with clear rewards. Unlike the real world that seemed intent on reminding him of his shortcomings, that all began to shift in the fall of his 8th year when a new English teacher, Mr. Elias Thompson, strode into room 204 with an air of quiet confidence. Mr. Thompson was in his mid-40s, with a head of sultan pepper hair that he kept neatly trimmed, wire-rimmed glasses perched on the bridge of his nose, and a warm smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes, making him seem approachable despite his authoritative presence. He had a slight limp from an old hiking injury sustained during a backpacking trip in the Rockies years ago, but it didn't hinder his movements. If anything, it added to his aura of quiet resilience. A badge of survived adventures. Rumors about Mr. Thompson circulated through the hallways like wildfire. Some said he'd taught in tough inner-city schools where he'd turned around failing classes with innovative methods. Others whispered that he'd traveled the world backpacked through Europe, volunteered in African villages, and even published a book of poetry that no one in Sleepy Willow Creek had ever bothered to look up. Whether true or exaggerated, these stories painted him as a figure of intrigue, a departure from the rote educators the students were accustomed to on his very first day. Mr. Thompson didn't launch into the standard routine of handing out slips or delivering a stern lecture on classroom rules and expectations. Instead, he stood at the front of the class, holding a worn, leather-bound journal that looked like it had accompanied him on many journeys, and addressed the room with a voice that was steady and inviting. "Stories are the threads that weave the fabric of our lives together," he began, his eyes scanning the faces before him. "They connect us, teach us, and help us understand the world. Today, I don't want to talk about grammar or books. I want each of you to share one thread from your own story. It can be anything, a memory, a dream, a fear. No right or wrong answers, just honesty." The class shifted uncomfortably in their seats, exchanging glances. This was uncharted territory. Kids like Jenna, the popular girl with her perfect ponytail, an endless stream of social media followers, or Mike, the athletic jock with his repertoire of corny jokes, weren't used to such vulnerability. Whispers rippled through the room as students took turns sharing superficial anecdotes, favorite vacations, pet stories, sports triumphs. When it came to Alex's turn, he felt a knot form in his stomach. He mumbled something generic about liking video games and how they let him build worlds, then quickly passed the invisible baton to the next student, hoping to fade back into obscurity. But Mr. Thompson's eyes lingered on him for a moment longer than on others, as if he could see through the facade, glimpsing the turmoil beneath as the weeks unfolded. English class underwent a remarkable transformation under Mr. Thompson's guidance. He didn't merely teach grammar rules or dissect literature in a dry, analytical way. He brought it all to life with passion and creativity. He'd read excerpts from To Kill a Mockingbird with such emotional depth that the room would fall into a hushed silence, the words hanging in the air like echoes of truth. He'd turned Shakespeare's sonnets into impromptu rap battles, encouraging students to rephrase the bard's lines in modern slang, which had everyone laughing and engaging in ways they never had before. For Alex, though, the true magic unfolded not during class hours, but in the quiet moments after the final bell rang. One crisp afternoon in October, as the other students bolted for the doors, eager for freedom, Mr. Thompson called out in his calm voice, "Alex, could you stay back for a minute?" Alex froze in place, his backpack halfway zipped, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. Was he in trouble? Had his latest essay assignment a jumbled, incoherent mess about a summer vacation he barely remembered? Writing finally pushed the new teacher over the edge. He approached the desk slowly, eyes fixed on the floor. Mr. Thompson leaned back against his desk, crossing his arms in a casual, non-threatening manner. "I've been reading your writing, Alex. It's got real heart, a genuine voice, but I can see the words seem to fight you on the page. Ever feel like that? Like they're slipping away?" Alex stared at his scuffed sneakers, scuffing the linoleum floor with his toe. The question hit close to home, and for a moment, he considered brushing it off. But something in Mr. Thompson's tone, empathetic, without a hint of judgment, with him open up. "Yeah," he admitted softly, "all the time. I have dyslexia. It makes everything hard, reading, writing, even spelling simple stuff." Mr. Thompson nodded thoughtfully, his expression one of understanding rather than pity. "I get it. My younger brother, Sam, had dyslexia too. He was brilliant, full of ideas, but school was a nightmare for him. Teachers didn't know how to help back then." Want to know a secret? Stories don't have to be perfect on paper to be powerful. They just need to be told. Let's work on this together. How about after school, twice a week? We can try some strategies that help Sam. Alex hesitated, the idea of spending extra time at school sounding like punishment at first, but there was a sincerity in Mr. Thompson's offer, a belief in the potential that no one else had ever expressed. With a tentative nod, he agreed. "Okay, I guess." Their one-on-one sessions started modestly. In the empty classroom, as the afternoon light slanted through the windows, Mr. Thompson introduced audio, playing recordings of classic tales, while Alex followed along in the printed text, training his brain to connect sounds with symbols. "Listen to the rhythm," Mr. Thompson would say, tapping his foot. "Words have their own music, a flow that can guide you." They experimented with colored overlays, thin sheets of tinted plastic placed over pages to reduce the visual distortion that made letters jump and blend. Mr. Thompson shared practical tricks, like breaking words into syllables with rhythmic hand claps or using mnemonic devices to remember spelling rules. He encouraged Alex to dictate his thoughts into a recorder first, then transcribe them, bypassing the immediate frustration of writing. Prof. Does was gradual, marked by small victories and setbacks. One particularly frustrating day, Alex slumped his notebook shut when he couldn't spell perseverance, despite repeated attempts. "This is stupid," he burst out, voice cracking. "I'll never get it right. Why bother?" Mr. Thompson set down his pen, his face calm. "Alex, let me tell you more about my brother Sam. He dropped out of high school because no one believed in him. No one took the time. But he didn't give up. He taught himself to code using voice-to-text software and online tutorials. Now, he's running a successful tech company in Silicon Valley. It's not about getting it right the first time, it's about persevering, even when it feels impossible. You've got that in you." Those words struck a chord, igniting a spark in Alex. He redoubled his efforts. Mr. Thompson assigned him short writing prompts, not for grades or criticism, but for pure expression. Alex wrote about his family's move from the city, the pang of loneliness and new beginnings, the way the suburbs felt too quiet after the constant hum of urban life. Mr. Thompson didn't cover the pages in red ink, correcting every error. Instead, he highlighted the vivid descriptions, the raw emotion bubbling beneath the surface. "This is gold, Alex," he'd say. "Polish it a bit, and it'll shine brighter than any perfect grammar." Word of these sessions spread through the school grapevine. Other students, drawn by curiosity or their own hidden struggles, began trickling in. Shy Emma, who loved fantasy novels but struggled with public speaking. Boisterous Raj, who dreamed of writing screenplays but battled ADHD. Even Jenna, who confessed her perfect facade hid anxiety about failure. Before long, the informal meetings evolved into an unofficial club, the Story Weavers. They gathered in the classroom after hours, sharing their writings, offering gentle critiques, and building one another up with encouragement. For Alex, the club became a lifeline, a place where he felt seen and valued. Friendships blossomed late night, text chains about plot ideas, group outings to the local library. His confidence spilled over into other classes. He started participating more, asking questions without fear of looking dumb. But life outside the sanctuary of school wasn't as supportive. At home, tensions simmered like a pot on low boil. Miguel had found a new job at a local warehouse, stocking shelves and loading trucks, but the pay was meager, barely covering the mortgage and utilities. Sophia picked up double shifts at the diner, coming home exhausted with sore feet and a forced smile. Arguments became more frequent, often revolving around money or Alex's extracurricular distractions. "You're always at that teacher's club thing," Miguel grumbled one evening over a dinner of rice and beans, his fork clinking against the plate. "What good is all this storytelling when you need real skills to survive in this world? Math, science, those are what get you jobs." Alex's face flushed with a mix of anger and hurt. "It's helping, Dad. My English grade is up to a B, and I'm actually enjoying school for once." Sophia, ever the peacemaker, placed a gentle hand on Miguel's arm. "Let him try me, and look at him, he's happier, more confident. That's worth something." Miguel sighed deeply, his shoulders slumping. "I just don't want you to end up like me, son. I had dreams too, becoming an engineer, but life got in the way. Bills, responsibilities. I want better for you." Deep down, Miguel's words stemmed from love, but they stung. Alex lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, vowing to prove him wrong. As winter descended on Willow Creek, blanketing the town in a thick layer of snow that muffled sounds and painted everything white, Alex's growth accelerated. In class, he volunteered to read passages aloud, his voice steady and clear where it once trembled. His essays, once rambling and error-ridden, now flowed with purpose, earning consistent B's and even an A on a book report. Mr. Thompson, seeing his potential, encouraged him to enter a local youth writing contest sponsored by the community library. The theme was change, and Alex poured his heart into a piece titled Threads of Change, a semi-autobiographical tale about a boy discovering his voice amid family upheaval and personal doubts. The contest results were announced in mid-February during a school assembly in the auditorium packed with parents, students, and faculty. When Alex's name was called for third place, a wave of applause erupted. He walked on stage on shaky legs, accepting the certificate and a small cash prize, his face beaming under the spotlights. Mr. Thompson sat in the front row, clapping and his pride evident. That evening, at home, Alex presented the award to his parents with trembling hands. Sofia enveloped him in a tight hug, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I'm so proud, oh so proud." Miguel read the story silently, his expression shifting from skepticism to quiet emotion. "This is about us, isn't it? The move, the fights, all of it." Alex nodded, throat tight. "Yeah, Mr. Thompson helped me see that it's okay to write about real life, the messy parts." Miguel set the paper down, his voice soft. "You've got talent, son. Keep going. I'm sorry if I doubted you." The victory marked a turning point, but spring brought fresh obstacles. Whispers of budget cuts rippled through the school district, a consequence of declining enrollment and state funding shortages. Extracurricular programs, including after-school clubs like the Story Weavers, were on the chopping block. The group met with a sense of urgency, their sessions charged with determination. Mr. Thompson rallied them during one meeting, his voice firm. "If they cut our funding, we'll find another way. Stories don't need a fancy classroom or official approval. We can meet at the library, online, wherever. The important thing is we keep weaving." Despite petitions and pleas from students and parents, the ACS fell. The principal announced the dissolution of non-essential clubs to redirect funds to core academics. The Story Weavers' final gathering was bittersweet, a circle of chairs, shared readings, hugs, and promises to stay connected via email and social media. Alex was devastated, feeling like a rug had been pulled from under him. "What now?" he asked Mr. Thompson as they packed away supplies, the room echoing emptily. The teacher placed a hand on his shoulder, smiling reassuringly. "Now, you take what you've learned and fly on your own. But remember, my door's always open if you need guidance." The transition to high school that fall was daunting. Willow Creek High was a sprawling campus with hundreds of students, a far cry from the familiar middle school. Alex entered as a freshman, feeling small amid the upperclassmen, but he carried the tools Mr. Thompson had given him like armor. Joined the school's writing club, advocated for better dyslexia support by speaking at a PTA meeting, and saw his grades climb not just in English, but across the board. Maths remained a challenge, but he applied storytelling techniques, turning word problems into narrative adventures, visualizing equations as battles between heroes and villains. High school years flew by in a blur of milestones, making the honor roll, winning another writing award, even dating Emma from the old club for a while before they parted as friends. Mr. Thompson remained a mentor, exchanging emails and meeting for coffee occasionally. At Alex's high school graduation, the teacher was there, clapping as Alex crossed the stage with honors. His valedictorian speech, a masterful weave of personal anecdotes and calls for empathy in education. College followed, first community college, to save money, then a transfer to a state university on a creative writing scholarship. Alex majored in education, driven by a desire to pay forward the change Mr. Thompson had sparked. He volunteered at local schools, tutoring kids with learning disabilities, and his senior thesis explored innovative, inclusive teaching methods for neurodiverse students during his junior year summer break. Alex returned to Willow Creek and visited Mr. Thompson at his cozy retirement cottage. Surrounded by towering bookshelves and mementos from his travels, they sat on the porch, sipping tea as the sun set. "Look at you now," Mr. Thompson said, eyes twinkling. "From doodles and notebooks to college papers. I'm proud. It's all because of you," Alex replied earnestly. "You saw something in me when no one else did. You changed my life." Mr. Thompson shook his head humbly. "I just lit the spark." "Alex, you fanned it into a fire. That's all any teacher can hope for." They talked late into the evening, Mr. Thompson sharing more about his past, the loss of his brother Sam to a rare illness, how that grief had fueled his dedication to teaching. Every student is a chance to make a difference, to honor those we've lost, he said. Alex graduated with honors and secured a teaching position in English at a middle school in a neighboring town. His classroom became a reflection of Mr. Thompson's posters, interactive lessons, and an emphasis on personal stories. He founded his own after-school group, Ward Warriors, tailored for students with learning differences, incorporating audiobooks, colored overlays, and creative expression. At Party, Alex achieved a dream, publishing his first book, a memoir called Threads Unraveled. It chronicled his journey from struggling student to educator with a heartfelt dedication to Mr. Thompson. The launch event at the Willow Creek Library drew a crowd from Leaf friends, former students, and community members. As Alex signed copies, Mr. Thompson approached, now in his 70s, leaning on a cane but with the same warm smile. "You've come full circle, my boy," he said, voice thick with emotion. Alex embraced him, and it's all thanks to the teacher who changed a life, mine, and now so many others. The book's success sparked a ripple effect. It raised awareness for dyslexia resources, leading to grants for schools and workshops. Alex led nationwide. He spoke at conferences, advocating for empathetic education, always crediting his mentor. In Willow Creek, the maple trees continued to stand sentinel, their leaves turning with the seasons. A new scholarship in Mr. Thompson's name funded tutoring for struggling students. Alex visited often, sharing stories with new generations, ensuring the threads of change wove on. Life, Alex came to understand, was an intricate tapestry of threads, some frayed by hardship, others strengthened by support. With the right guide, even the most tangled could create something beautiful. Life, Alex came to understand, was an intricate tapestry of threads, some frayed by hardship, others strengthened by support. With the right guide, even the most tangled could create something beautiful. Maybe that's the real lesson here. Somewhere right now, there is a child like Alex, quiet, misunderstood, convinced they are not enough. And somewhere, there is a teacher, a parent, a mentor, or even a stranger who could change everything, simply by believing. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end with this video. Like this video so more people can find stories that heal and inspire. Subscribe to this channel for more real, emotional stories that remind us we're not alone. Share this story with someone who needs hope. Thank a teacher who once believed in you. And if you ever have the chance to guide someone who is struggling, be the reason they don't give up. Because sometimes changing one life is how you change the world.